Welcome to Real Geek Media. It is Friday night, July 19th, 2024. I am Hayden Stoll. He's Christopher Michael Blake. It is time to talk about The Acolyte, the big finale, episode 8, entitled The Acolyte. Christopher, how you doing tonight?
I'm just fine. I had enough of the shit sandwich that they're kind of throwing at us at this point.
Yeah. This one, this series has been just one eye roll after another. I don't know, hard to defend some of this. But let's get into this. Episode 8. Here's the tail of the tape. Episode 8 of The Acolyte, entitled The Acolyte, directed by Hanelle Culpepper, written by Jason McAuliffe, air date of July 16th, 2024, approximately 45 minutes long.
Of which about 7 was credits.
Credits at the end.
Yeah.
This was something. I don't know, man. We get the conclusion of some of this, and some of this is still left dangling. We have May and Osha. If I want to just touch on this a little bit, what in the world is like? Who do you root for in this series? Who are you supposed to root for? Right? All of these characters are either incompetent or just, bad. Like, there's no good people in this entire series. I'm really not sure who this show is for. And maybe it's in the script somewhere that, maybe it's actually in there, but it's not shown, from whatever the directors got out of the actors. It's not there. None of it is there, from the flip-flopping characters. But the May and Osha stuff, what did we just see? What was this? They end up, seeing each other again on Brendock. We come back to Brendock. This is a big, finale. Soul's there with May, and then here comes Osha with, Kamir. And, they go looking for each other. And, when May and Osha get to each other, here it comes, they're fighting. And they're fighting identically. One of them was trained by the Jedi. One was trained by Kamir. And they have identical moves. I'm like, I don't know. None of that really made much sense to me. And Osha, again, we had talked about this a little bit last week. And my prediction was that she's going to turn bad and she's going to kill Saul, which she did, without a weapon, which she did. And I don't know. Like, what is this? Who do you root for? Who are you rooting for? Who's you backing in this series? Like, if you're a kid watching the show, who do you get behind?
So this is just my opinion. Number one, the fight scene between May and Osha was terrible. It was just so badly choreographed. There was no threat of anything. I mean, look, then you even got the robot splooge, coming out again. I mean, I really just don't understand that, but that's another side story here. I can tell you what I did like about this episode, because there was actually, for me, one defining moment that I did like. And for me, that was the fight between Quaimir and Soul. Until...
Oh, yep. I know where you're going.
Until they went Matrix with it, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon off the bridge.
Yeah, that was painful to watch.
That, for me, was actually pretty interesting to see. It was the saber fight. I was hoping Soul would actually come out on top, and if he actually had killed Quaimir, then maybe Osha would have killed Soul at that point. Because, here we go. Soul's disarmed. Quaimir's there. May's there. Oh, you killed our mother. And then Osha shows up. Is this true? You did this? And Soul does not say the one thing that would save his life. He was disintegrating May.
Right.
I had no
Right.
choice but to do this other than save your sister.
Quite simply put. How do you not say it?
And instead he goes, I love you.
Oh, boy.
And she does the worst Darth Vader impression. There's like no force behind it. She's just like holding her hand up like she's like waiting for like a cup of coffee and just like, oh, you know.
She has no range. Every single thing is the same expression. That was supposed to be anger, and you got... This is the look on her face. And this is the look on her face for surprise. This is the look on her face for happy. I mean, you can't get anything more out of her. Anger, put it in your face. But, you know, it's such a odd thing when you write these characters and there's no logic to it. Because he would logically say, listen, I was doing what I thought was right. You were disintegrating in front of my eyes, and I was trying to save you. He says none of that. None of it. And I was like watching this, and I'm just like, what?
Well, look, it gets worse because on board the ship,
Oh, boy.
you have Richard Gere's hamster, or gerbil. Soul has her lined up. I'm going to shoot her wing out so I can force her to land. And the gerbil decides, no, no, no. For whatever reason, I'm now on her side.
What was that?
And then it's like, you now stay on on the plane. And it's like, oh, Quimir comes out and says, at one point, where they're at the tree, right? If I feel you, the Jedi can feel you and they can find you.
Right.
Well, apparently, they can only find them with Basil's help. Right? Because that's Basil's over there to lead them. And again, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, what you just said contradicts what's going on in order to bring this non-relevant character in who's really done nothing, has no purpose other than to sell toys, I would think. And it'd be cute for kids. Right? I mean, that's the BB-8,
right.
R2-D2.
Yep. Look, a little cute character. Right? Yeah.
Right. And it bothered me because when they're on the ship, and May, look, I can forgive the whole escape and Pip and everything. I can forgive that. I don't have a problem with that. Some people did. I didn't really have a problem with that. How she got out, and then she electrocutes me. I didn't have a problem with that either. Soul's chasing her to the escape hatch. He sees her from down the hall, and she says, Nanny Boo Boo, you can't get me. And she gets ready to hit the door. And I'm sitting there thinking, why not
use the force?
Force choke this, or not force choke, but force pull this bitch back into the ship.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
Or even force push the door open.
Yeah.
But no, we're not going to do any of that here today. We need, and again, this space flight scene was actually pretty cool. It was.
Sure. Yeah.
But unnecessary. It didn't add any value other than to take up time for the episode.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. But was it pretty cool? Yeah, the spaceship scene the space chase was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Other than Richard Gere's hamster being involved for whatever reason, which I still can't wrap my head around.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I will agree. The saber duel I enjoyed. I disliked with a passion that crouching tiger hidden matrix thing off the bridge. Oh, I thought that was awful. I like the matchup. I thought you have two formidable characters fighting each other with stakes. It's live or die at this point. And when that really didn't happen, the scene where May disarms Soul, and it was just, how did you let that happen? And then when she tosses his lightsaber, it cracks. And it just cracks. Like, that's the thing. They zoom in on it. You see like cracked glass. And then when Osha picks it up and she bleeds the crystal red, I thought that was, I mean, we're turning into Mood Ring City with this, there is lore behind the saber thing, and the bleeding the crystal is a Disney thing. It wasn't like that prior to Disney. When it was expanded universe, it was synthetic crystals, but with Disney they changed it to bleeding the crystal. And there is an arc, and I think you read the Darth Vader comic where he
had to chase down the red. He had to chase down the red crystal for.
He had to bleed it, and it was a task he had to overcome, and it almost killed him. He had gotten a vision of what would happen if he killed Palpatine there, and it was a toll extracted on him to do that. And here what we see in the show is just like, I'm kind of angry, and it turns red.
Now, I'm not as big a lore geek as some people like you and Star Wars Theory and everybody else. I did watch the Star Wars Theory episode where he had to bleed the crystal for Vader, and he did a great job narrating that, by the way. I have to give him credit. But I had some questions, and I wrote them down here. And my first question was, if that's going to happen, do you now go back and redo Revenge of the Sith to give Anakin the red lightsaber? Because it wasn't.
And that's what's weird. Yeah.
Now, I got a better question to follow up that. How do you end up with a purple lightsaber?
Well,
are you like in the middle between good and bad? Is like Mace Windu totally good or totally? I mean, is he conflicted?
And this is where it gets like nitpicky, right? Like the blue, the green, the yellow are all crystals that they find, the kyber crystals of that color, right? The red can only be done by bleeding it. That's Disney canon.
I mean, again, I could get the yellow or for Padawan. I mean, I can look. It makes it easier for me to kind of, as a non-Star Wars geek, but I'm a fan, not have to sit there and think too much. Okay, I know green is more for Jedi Master, blue is for the day, however you're feeling that day, but red is evil. That, I mean, you draw on distinguishing lines, and I get that. You have a clear, distinguishable feature for somebody who's bad versus somebody who's good. It's natural. That's natural conflict. I get that. So that doesn't bother me as much, but it leads to more questions.
It raises too many questions.
Correct. So that, I mean, it's not as big of plot hole as the generator in this episode.
So that is something. I'm glad you brought up the generator, and I'll let you go on that one.
So what was it? Episode 3, we get the flashback where the generator blows up
because of fire.
Right, because of the fire inside the mining facility, right? And it leads Soul to have to make that decision. Well, there shouldn't be any power to this thing after 16 years of not being operable.
None.
We've seen the power generator blow up.
Yes.
And what does Osha do when she arrives? Oh, I'm just going to go ahead and hotwire this thing. Oh, look, there's power. Well, okay.
And the Jedi, too, right? Then when they arrive, don't they use it, too?
No, they force push the door open, if I remember correctly. Which, again, why Quimir just didn't do that, I really just... Instead, he disappears. He just like, now you see me, now you don't.
Yeah. There's so many problematic things, and I feel like it's just... the writing, even like somebody that has no experience writing is going to call these things out. Like, these are just keep the thread moving, and we have, outside of the characters that flip-flop every second, you have simple things like the generator blew up, we all saw it, and now you're telling us there's power. How do you lose track of these things?
Who was the lore specialist on the show? It's Pablo something or another?
Pablo Hidalgo, who has been with Star Wars and Lucasfilm for a long time now, and he's the lore master, the head of the story group. And I think these people that get to a point, and when George Lucas was there, I feel like he was more like kind of, this is what it is, okay, I'm gonna have final say on this. But now the ship is so rudderless. Kathleen Kennedy's in charge, but she has these all these committees and groups and story group and this and that group. And it's just, they kind of I don't think anybody holds firm. They are what they need you to be in the moment. Okay, we need, female-driven lead in Star Wars, and we're going to set this up so that Osha and May were first before Anakin was. Okay, you look at basically a lot of what you see with these more push for the female-driven stories. You have Prey is a good example. Oh, look, Arnold Schwarzenegger fought the Predator, but guess who did it first? This small, American Indian girl. And, it's the same thing. Like every time you get like one of these stories, it's like, oh, but they did it first, and they did it better, or they were the first one. Now, are we meant to believe that this force choke that she used is the first ever force choke? Because that's kind of the impression that I got from it. They all stood there in shock looking at her, right? When she's choking out Soul.
I don't know. Because
I don't know. It's just...
I disagree with you a little bit on that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Quymir, in the episode, he's almost, disarmed, right? I mean, he could try to get his lightsaber, the small one at least, back, right? He could use the force to try to get... I mean, the big ones, I think, was cut in half, right?
Yep.
And then May grabs Soul's lightsaber. And Quymir says to her, now is your opportunity. Cut him down.
Right.
Take him out. Become what you were meant to be. And she says, no, I don't think so anymore. I'm flip-flopping once again.
He'll stand trial.
Yeah, right, he's going to stand trial for saving my life. And for saving the life of my sister. I'll let him stand trial for that. Okay, well, we appreciate that. Now, here comes Osha, and she kills Soul, right? But Quymir, I think, is taking a step back to see which one of these two are going to step up to be the apprentice at this point.
Right.
He's kind of like the Donald Trump of the TV show, where he's got two candidates, and one of them has the test. Here's the test. Whoever can do it better gets the job. Because I really can't wrap my head around the ending of this episode at all. And it bothered me to such huge extents. I'm sitting there and I'm like, was there not enough room in the spaceship for 3 people?
Right. They couldn't take her with them.
The girls just reunited and they're hugging and they're kissing and, hey, I missed you so much, even though we were just fighting 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
We can get past this, and I love you so much. Why are they not taking May with them? Oh, no, we're just going to mind wipe her.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sitting there like, oh, well, the Jedi are going to arrest her. And then what's the first thing that happens when she's arrested? It's almost the same exact verbatim from what happened with Palpatine and Skywalker, right? It's like, we don't need the restraints anymore, and they fall off her wrists, right? Guards, leave us. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, May just killed 2 Jedi. Are we totally absolving her of this because now she doesn't remember?
Yeah.
You might want to leave those restraints on and maybe put her in a holding cell and not blame everything on Soul, which is what you just did for no reason.
Man. I had such a problem with that.
This is supposed to be her friend, I mean, and we don't know why she did it. We don't know what the backstory of that is. But does everybody in this Jedi temple have like a hidden secret? Because these are supposed to be honorable people.
How are these people Jedi? Like, how? There's so much temptation, and we talked about that last week. There's temptation. Some of these characters, they are guided by it. And, we're told in the original trilogy, this leads to that, and that leads to that. And, those are all paths to the dark side. And, we have people in the Jedi, in the temple, in like a leadership role. That's really all they're doing. I'm covering up everything that comes across my desk. Everything is a cover-up. And then, the Senate, the senator that talks to Master Vernestra towards the end is basically, shames, trash talks the Jedi right in front of her, to which you could see she's getting angry. and just
Well, first he's poking fun with her stomach. He's like, "Oh, you need some
yeah,
Pepto?"
yeah. All right, but how is it that everybody knows that she's been off-world on a mission? Like every single, like
I'm sure that they got spies. I can give them that. I don't have a problem. The problem I have, Hayden, is the talking down to that Star Wars fans got during the initial Senator and Master Dominatrix's encounter back before she takes off to go to the planet Brendok. And basically he sits there and goes into everything that's wrong in their religion and with Star Wars fans. And it's almost like they're speaking directly to everybody out in the audience, telling them how wrong they are for believing in this stuff.
It's too meta, man. It's way too meta.
It's like everything's not so black and white, and shame on you if you believe that it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm sorry,
100%.
we've only been looking at this for the last 50 years, and now you want to throw shade on it and be like, no, this is the way it really could go down. To the fact that now you have possibly corrupted Master Yoda at the end of this episode.
Oh, dude. Listen,
right?
Before we even get to Yoda, when they're having their little Disney corporate meeting with the senators, and you get the most meta comment, this was all the work of one flawed man. There you go. Message. Get Keenan Ivory Waynes in here to say the message. And that's it. That's meta. That's their message. Okay? Are you talking about George? Are you talking about Lucas? This is all the work of one flawed man? Like, it's just, there's so much in this that, as longtime Star Wars fan can look at this and go, what? And now you bring up Yoda, right? So they got to drag Yoda into this. And does that make Yoda just incompetent too? What did she tell him? I mean, I know we're never going to get a season 2 of this show. You
don't think so?
No.
That's my last question for tonight was, do you think there's going to be a season 2? And I think that there almost has to be at this point because Kathleen, Leslie Hayden and Kathleen, they have to save face at this point.
Well, here's the thing.
They have to. Because, it's kind of like the World of Warcraft statement that they made about vanilla. You think you'd want this, but you don't. And it's kind of reverse to that. You think you don't want this, but you do. And our numbers and the fact that people are watching this on YouTube, hating on it, tell us that we're right.
There's probably, I don't know. $180 million for this series. It's got the least amount of views of any D+ Star Wars series. The least amount. Nobody's watching this thing. Even the people that are all, carrying the torch for this thing all through the whole season. When the Nielsen numbers and the Luminate numbers and all that stuff have come out, and nobody's watching it. Nobody's watching it. So how do you justify it? Even if you're Kathleen Kennedy, you're Bob Iger sitting there, and she's like, hey, how about a season 2? And he's like, okay, $50 million is your budget.
I don't think so.
You're not spending 180 again. You're not getting that. So, what do you do? I mean, the eyes are not on it. It's not popular. Nobody cares. The only people that care are people that watch YouTube to get the commentary, right? That's the only engagement this show gets. You go on X and you see people carrying the torch for this show. Okay, you can't honestly tell me that this was a good show. You can't. It wasn't. It may be the worst Star Wars thing that I've seen. And outside of Kenobi, which I think did more damage to the lore than this show does. But, Kenobi at least had a legacy character in it. This show there's just nothing there. Poorly written, poorly acted, and it just one thing after another. I don't know. I don't see it happening. I wouldn't be surprised if there was. I'm not going to say it's never going to happen. The way Star Wars is going right now, we may get season 2 and 3 of this thing because it drives home the message they want. Now, when Kathleen Kennedy read the original script to this, she cried. Okay, you tell me at what point in that story moved you to tears? Because I didn't see any.
It's the part where she got to put her girlfriend in the green makeup and make fun about her gastrointestinal issues, in my opinion. But this is where the money's going to come from. You ready? When they make the Mandalorian movie, and that thing makes $500 million. I
don't see it.
Are you kidding me? Baby Yoda all over the place. Get the kids, get the popcorn, get the AMC bucket out. I'm telling you.
Let me go back. Yeah,
million.
Jon Favreau's doing that, so you're right. That will probably make a lot of money because he's an accomplished director.
And not only that, he'll take it back to it. Look, you can't have the Mandalorian without the Mandalorian in it. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't finish watching season 3. I do have to go back and finish watching it. That's on me. I just got too busy and was like, I got 3 or 4 episodes in, and was like, wasn't really appealing to me.
Yeah, it's
but again, I had heard that they had kind of taken the Mandalorian out of the season towards the end. I could see them bringing that back in. I mean, I actually like, contrary to what people were saying, Boba Fett. The shootout at the end was a little, and the character's motivation, but I like the whole Tusken Raider part. I like the whole.
I thought that was good. Yeah.
Again, that's just my opinion. We can agree to disagree.
I hear you. I hear you.
I would watch a season 2 to that.
Mm-hmm.
Watch Ahsoka. I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard some people say it's okay, and some people say it's not. Again, I can live with it. But when Mandalorian makes $500 million, they're going to, because again, I don't see Boba Fett doing better than, because I've also heard that they're going to have Obi-Wan season 2, right? So they got all these plans for all these season 2s, which I don't think are going to be better than season 1, which should worry about Kenobi. I mean, that was a dumpster fire waiting to happen. I mean, I watched that thing hoping it was going to get better, and then,
oh man,
look, I can forgive them for, let's have Leia and him get together. I can forgive that. I can almost forgive Vader coming over, but I couldn't forgive that last sword fight. It was like everything that Kenobi had just I kind of forgot how to do all this.
Yeah.
And, I really just... How about losing respect for a character? It was like...
Man, that was such a tough portrayal for him. I did not like that.
I mean, I liked the Qui-Gon at the end. I thought that was all right. But
he should have been in it from the jump, right? Like, put him in, half the season. No, we get him in the last minute of this show. You make a good point. They are going to make money off of Mandalorian. Now, as Disney has shown us, as Lucasfilm has shown us, I don't know if they put the money in they don't spend it wisely. Would I greenlight a season 2 for this thing? I wouldn't, but there's other stories we can tell. But
I think they're also hanging it up on Dark Plagueis. They want to bring him in.
So, yeah, I'm glad you brought up that. Why was he sitting in a cave, hiding, watching this guy skinny dip with the other one? And I
have an answer for you for this. I do. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
The answer is that he's a peeping Tom.
Oh, man.
Who likes to masturbate. And when look, you could even go to the beginning of the episode when Osha puts the helmet on and then Qui-Mir's eyes kind of light up, and this scene made almost no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, where did that further the plot at anything that was going on here at this point?
Yeah, that confused me because...
It didn't. It did nothing to do with the rest of the episode.
No, it didn't. So, okay, she can tap into the ability that her mother had. We could have shown that in season 2 if you get it. You don't need to dangle a thread.
But what did she learn? What did she learn?
How did she learn? Right, yeah. What did she learn about Qui-Mir? We don't know. Nothing.
And look, what is the Dominatrix Jedi in her simp hiding at this point? Why does she try to kill Qui-Mir?
What is that? Oh,
why is she throwing Soul under the bus? Because look, it would be easy to say this is what happened,
right?
And that she's aware of what happened because it seems like she's aware.
Yeah,
right? It seems like she's in the know. So why does she have to go? Why is Soul like, oh, I want her to confess to the Jedi Council? Well, the Jedi Council already is aware. And Boo Boo, ha ha ha. I already let them know, and they didn't have a problem with me killing your mother witch who was turning into a vampire of smoke
Right.
and trying to kill you.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get that today. We got
I love you.
I love you. Right. No.
It's wild. It's wild.
Correct.
The Plagueis thing, I would have been good if they didn't even show him. Or if you're going to use him earlier in the season. But they take out their shiny object and they dangle it in front of you in hopes that it sparks enough interest that, oh, maybe we could get a season 2. Look, we're going to use Plagueis. Look, Yoda. But the Plagueis thing, in a cave on this island, like, he's just spying on him. And is he going to learn the idea that she was created by the witches and the witches are the ones that gave him the idea? I would like it better if it was he was involved in that process with the witches. But who knows where they're going to take that if this thing gets another season. I did not like the inclusion because it really made him look like a creepy, voyeur. I don't know. And then you get the little Twilight holding hands over the lightsaber at the end of the episode. I don't know. What is the deal with those two, right? He killed Jecki, he killed Yord, who she was friends with. I'd have a hard time getting past that alone. And none of it makes sense. Her turn, her I don't get it.
You've seen him wipe out 7 Jedis that were innocent.
Mm-hmm.
Those were innocent people that she killed, that Quimir killed. And she does not seem to have any compunction, any loss of sleep about any of it. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, that's my boyfriend. That's what he does. It's like,
Yeah. That's
what he does. Have you seen him put the shirt off, though?
Right. Hey, I saw him skinny dip.
Look, if you want the shirt off, you got to put up with him killing Jedi. It's kind of like...
really bizarre. Just real, like, what is the message there? Right? It's clearly, for me, it's not enough to justify her action. And even Soul saying, yes, that was the truth, but I thought I was protecting you, which he never had. He had the opportunity, he never said it. OSHA all along has been the good one, the one with morals, the ones with values, and all that is out the window. Because she saw this guy skinny dipping, and here we are. So, great plot.
It gets worse because if they do have a season 2, they have to bring May back, which means you have to unwipe her mind, right? You have to unwipe her mind now.
Yep. Which
is going to beg the question: why didn't they just do that from the get?
Mm-hmm.
And how inept is Master Yoda that he is not feeling these disturbances in the Force?
Yeah.
With Darth Plagueis, I guess they brought him ahead of time. Right? Is that what happened in terms of the lore?
What's that?
That they brought Plagueis ahead in time? Is that right? I
don't
know.
Plagueis, he's
Palpatine kills him, right? I mean,
that's the story that we get in Revenge of the Sith, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Plagueis is, I don't really care too much if they play around with the ages. Technically, he would be like, 20s, maybe teens at this point in the story, but I don't have such a big deal with that. But it's just bizarre to me. Like, I agree, like the Yoda thing, Yoda's going to seem completely incompetent if she tells him everything. And
go ahead.
What we get in episode 1, 2, and 3 is like, Yoda feels all the Jedi's deaths in Order 66. In Revenge of the Sith, he sits there.
The 7 pupils are wiped out, and he doesn't even bat an eye.
Doesn't bat an eye, right? So
I gotta go to the can. It's like
yeah, like there's just no consistency there. Like kind of with what we've already seen.
And look, you even see it when the Dominatrix Jedi steps off the airship, and it's like, oh, he's alive.
Yeah.
And it's like, I gotta put this helmet back on real quick. And it's like
Magneto helmet.
But you're going to tell me that Yoda hasn't felt the presence of the Sith at all? I mean, because now we're confirmed, right? This is the Sith.
Right. I mean...
Which, haven't been around for a millennia, but 100 years It's close enough.
Yeah, and the Jedi cover-up team are just happy to hide that fact because there's a whole bunch of them that know at the temple, and
But I mean, let's face it. If you have a season 2, you're gonna have to re-wipe and reload May's mind.
Yep.
And then what? Hope that she doesn't kill more Jedi? Because behind Quimir, she's number 2 on the list. She's killed more than Osha so far.
Yeah, and you had Chimere in I think it was episode 5, where we had the fight with all the Jedi. He was trying to kill May in that episode, right? I don't know. It's all so very jumbled and just nonsensical. I don't know. I'm glad the show is over. I'm glad there's no more episodes. Like I said, I share the positives that you had. That the lightsaber fight was enjoyable up until a point. I don't know.
There is one person I wanted to just give some credence to here and say, I think he did a very good job for what he was dealt with, and he actually learned English for the role. Was the guy who plays Soul. I thought he did a pretty good job, and I was actually rooting for him not to die in this episode.
Yes.
And look, I knew it was coming. I even put it on X that it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And look, of the 4 predictions I put out there, I had 3 come true.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take those. Look, that gets me into the Hall of Fame right there. So
it's true. He did good, a very good job. He was an engaging character, very flawed character, and I think for what he was given, he did a good job. He did a good job. Lee Jung Jae. Yeah, and learning English for the role. Listen, you went that extra mile. I got to tip my hat. He was good. The most compelling character, start to finish, for me was Chimere. There's always a little something interesting with the villain characters, and I thought that he had an interesting quality. He had the best action scenes, and it's just, the other characters that are in the room with him and acting with him just didn't carry their end of the deal. Like the scenes with Osha, the scenes with May, I don't know. I could have done without it, but those 2 characters were, for me, the best ones in this series. We ran a poll on X.
what was the question, Hayden?
This was episode 8. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And we had 52% liked it, 48% didn't like it. And I think there's things in here to like. The spaceship chase we talked about, the lightsaber duel we talked about, some of the things in between and before that, problematic. But it seems like our audience, veered slightly on the like side of this episode. Whatever. Yeah. Hey, listen, if you guys enjoyed this show, I'm happy you did. It wasn't really for me, though. It wasn't really for me.
At the end of the day, it wasn't terrible, but they did mess up a lot of different stuff. And again, I'm not a lore guy. I'm not like gung-ho on the 1,000 years and all that other stuff. Like, if you asked me that guy's name, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I mean, that's Kai, Moon, whatever, okay, whatever. I mean, other than Yoda and
Keanu yeah.
God bless you, yeah.
Conehead.
Look, basically, yeah. But would I have much rather seen like a Mace Windu show instead? I would have probably much rather seen that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be interesting to see, what they do with Plagueis, if they do. But my number one question for this entire show: what happened to the Zabrak mom? And would she make an appearance in season 2?
You gotta think she does. I mean, they did everything intentional. Every little piece of dialogue, every little thing was all intentional. They'll say something in the beginning and it ends up at the end. So her disappearing, clearly a shot of her just disapparating She has to, if there's a season 2.
Did they tell you exactly? I mean, because May says, after I fell down this hole, I went through this mine shaft, right? Came out the other side. Did she say, like, who found her after that?
No.
I don't recall.
I don't think so. I think she just said, this is how I got out.
Yeah, and
that was kind of it.
I mean, I don't remember if she says I found a ship to get on, or, I mean, so you would think that somebody already on the planet had a hand in helping her out at that point.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, I don't know if I want to put that on the mom or not.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Entirely possible. Somebody got her off that planet somehow.
Giant plot hole. And OSHA doesn't even bat an eye and ask.
No.
It's like, whatever. Okay,
oh, that's nice. Look, a tunnel. Now, here
less power, by the way. Here we go.
You're right. As they're walking down it, the lights are going on. Gotta love it. Here's a question, and we may have touched on this when this episode aired, the one where Chimera was skinny dipping. And she asked him about the, he says, he starts alluding that he was trained by the Jedi, right? And she's like, oh, you were trained by the Jedi? And he's like, that was a long time ago. Okay, because he looks 30. Okay, so if he was this other one's apprentice, like, what is that a long time ago comment? Is he masking something? Is he not masking something? I'm not really clear on that.
Well, I mean, this entire show is 16 years, right? So you would have to think that he may have been younger than OSHA. And it had to be before OSHA became an apprentice.
She became one around 8 years old, right?
Well, I don't know if it was 8 because, again, the entire show goes back 16 years, right? It was 16 years from the time of the Jedi witch, the witches, right?
Right. I thought they were 8 when they kidnapped them.
Again, it could be, but you have to think that it has to be before then that he was a Padawan Dominatrix Jedi. Because whatever happened with them, you were likely to, hey, Coach would have seen them running around. Right? The temple doing training, something. It's kind of like when you go to karate class. Kids teaching the younger kids, the purple belts, the brown belts. Hey, this is the moves, and I'm going to help you kind of perfect them. And you're helping the master sensei out,
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing. You would kind of think, oh, yeah, I did remember running into you all the way back there. So it has to be longer than 16 years is basically what I'm trying to allude to at this point.
Right.
Which would put, between probably 10 and 14 years old. At least you would hope for sake of, I mean, if he's 30, if he's, 19. Right. I mean, look, it looks like York's still an apprentice at this point, even though he says he's a Jedi Knight.
He was so irritating.
Just make up your mind, bro. It's like, oh.
Let me break out the manual because I'm only doing what the manual says.
Which says, take my shirt off.
It says I better steam my cloak.
Didn't have a robot do that? I mean, really?
Right.
You got robots doing everything else.
You're the Jedi. I'm sure there's somebody's job to do the steaming of the cloak.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. They steam their own cloaks. Brutal. Christopher, any final thoughts?
No, I'm good. I don't want to think about this anymore.
Yeah. So that was The Acolyte. Again, not for me. I'm glad some of you enjoyed it. We'll see if this gets a season 2. We'll get together and come back with another review series. Christopher and I are going to talk and see what we want to review. If anybody's got any suggestions, feel free to reach out to us. Hit us up on X. Hit us up on our website.
The boys.
Did I hear the boys?
I gotta start watching it. I keep seeing these clips on Instagram, and I'm like, I have to get into this.
Have you watched any of it?
No, I know the clips on.
Oh, just the clips. That's it.
Yeah, it's
okay.
It looks good though.
I'm through season 3. I haven't started 4 yet.
Looks good though.
So if you do get into the boys and you want to do 4, we could do it fresh. I haven't watched any of it yet.
But I think I might get force choked if I keep up this weekly schedule.
We'll take a break. But there we go. That's it.
I'm glad you can laugh at that. I think you might be force choked too. But remember, there are always 2.
Do it without a weapon. Yeah, there
Oh.
are always two.
It's called I'll Be Sleeping in the Car. Podcasting live from my car. Are you at McDonald's? Yeah, they have free Wi-Fi here.
Put the Burger King crown on. The power of
yeah,
many.
Man. King of my own home.
There you go.
Gotta put the flatbed down in my car.
Christopher, it's been fun. We'll catch up with everybody next time. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, give us a subscribe, give us some likes, and we'll talk to you next time. I'm Hayden Stoll. He's Christopher Michael Blake. Have a good night.